continue a tradition that defines the Progressive Labor Party, a thoughtful, transparent, and meaningful introduction of the candidates who we believe will proudly and effectively represent their constituents. Each rollout is an opportunity to share not just names, but the heart, vision, and qualifications of those who step forward to serve. Just yesterday, we held a press conference focused on what Bermudians are truly concerned about, the cost of living. We outlined not only what we have done, reducing taxes for 86% of workers and all businesses, eliminating duty on essential goods, reducing energy taxes by 60%, and expanding and increasing childcare assistance, but also what we plan to do next. And as the leader of the Progressive Labor Party, I'm happy to give you again 5 things that the next Progressive Labor Party government will do. The next PLP government will foster competition, explore innovative ways to deliver affordable food options directly to Bermudians, ensuring more relief for food. The next PLP government will reduce energy taxes further by at least an additional 20% in the next budget, bringing the total reductions in energy taxes to 80%. The next PLP government will build and deliver the first seniors daycare facility, offering meals, activities, and support for families that are part of the sandwich generation, balancing care for children and aging parents. The next PLP government will introduce additional preventive care with free primary care visits for members on HIP and a specialist visit for those on future care, reducing out-of-pocket healthcare expenses for Bermudians. And finally, and this is important, the next Progressive Labor Party government will continue to reduce payroll taxes for workers and to ensure that the burden of taxation on workers continues to fall. You saw it in the pre-budget report, reduction of land taxes by up to 50%. We are committed to making sure that we reduce that burden. And it will not just be these 5 things. On February 6th, we'll unveil a bold platform designed to lift every Bermudian. That is the difference between the Progressive Labor Party and the One Bermuda Alliance. While they deliver vague promises, we provide clear plans and will deliver on them as we have done before. So today, I'm happy to have you all here today as the Progressive Labor Party introduce the candidate whose career, character, and life story epitomize our party's values of fairness and service and reflect the aspirations of the people of Bermuda. I am honored to announce that the Attorney General, Ms. Kim Wilkerson, will be the Progressive Labor Party candidate for constituency number 23, Paget West, against the opposition leader in the upcoming election. Kim Wilkerson is not just an accomplished professional. She is a testament to what hard work, dedication, and resilience can achieve. A proud product of the Bermuda public education system, Kim attended Paget Primary, the Barclay Institute, Bermuda College, before furthering her education abroad, earning a bachelor's degree in business administration, a law degree, and a postgraduate diploma. She has built an extraordinary career spanning 35 years in the insurance industry, rising to positions of leadership and influence in Bermuda and globally. Kim's journey is one of breaking barriers and setting new standards of excellence. As Attorney General, she has carried us forward. She has carried forward our vision for making Bermuda's laws fairer for all of us. In opposition, she was a trusted voice in the Senate, where her sharp intellect and deep understanding of economic development set her apart as a leader committed to Bermuda's progress. But what I admire most about our Attorney General is her passion for service. Whether chairing the Bermuda Civil Aviation Authority, volunteering with organizations like SHIFT, or mentoring young Bermudians, Kim has shown that her commitment goes beyond titles and offices. I can say she's auntie to many. She understands leadership is about lifting others up and not standing above them. She embodies the Progressive Labor Party's vision of building a fairer Bermuda. She knows what fairness means, ensuring our children have access to world-class education, that working families can afford to put food on the table, and that our seniors can live out their golden years in dignity. She knows what fairness means, creating opportunity for entrepreneurs, advocating for justice in our court system, rehabilitation for our prisoners, and building a safer and stronger Bermuda for everyone. So this election is about choosing the future that we want. Kim Wilkerson is the kind of leader who understands that progress towards a fair Bermuda for all of us is not inevitable. It is something that we have to fight for, something that we have to work for, and something that we have to deliver together. Kim will bring her vision, experience, and unwavering commitment to the people of Constituency 23, and I have no doubt that she will not only meet, but exceed the high standards this community deserves. So, PLP family, I would ask you in welcoming today, as I announce and ask to speak, Kim Wilkerson as the PLP candidate for constituency number 23.
Good morning, PLP family here. Good morning, Bermuda, and members of the media, and certainly good morning to the residents of Paget West constituency C23. It is my distinct pleasure and honor this morning, as the Premier has announced, to be here to confirm my decision to stand as the Progressive Labour Party candidate for constituency 23. I bring to this fight the experience I already have in public service and in life, and I plan to bring the same independent mind, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills to the issues faced by the residents of C23. My passion is to fight for human rights and to see more humanity in the way that we operate as a country and how we connect one citizen to another. It has been an honor to serve Bermuda as your Attorney General and Minister of Justice over the past few months since my appointment in September of 2024. And in that time, we have continued the work of making our laws fairer and more reflective of the needs of Bermudians today and a Bermuda of the future. I hope to continue the plans already in train in my role at the Ministry of Justice and to fight singularly for the people of C23 by listening to understand their specific needs and advocating for them as they relate to the national landscape to ensure that those concerns translate to policy and action. I promise to be accessible and accountable, but more important than that, I promise to do. I will be a change maker for C23 and for Bermuda. I thank you for your time and attention this morning, and happy to invite questions.
So I guess you want to go first, Trevor? Go right on ahead.
There may be an order of protocol that I'm not.
The Attorney General is equally awaiting your questions, Trevor.
Thank you. Why C23 has the Progressive Labour Party ever won that seat?
No.
Why C23?
This is the time. This is the time, and I am the person.
You spoke of your prison under your ministry. When will reform happen for those young men that are up in the prison? Educational programs. There's a lot of things that need to be done for the prison.
Absolutely. Things are being done, and I think that people would have seen, certainly I've taken the opportunity to visit and be, there have been some press coverage of the various graduations. So, you know, Trevor, we see on the one hand, you see young men graduating, taking advantage of programs, the Penn Forster, for example. So they're not just doing the basic GED, going above and beyond and choosing programs that they're prepared to work hard at. But then you hear others saying, I don't have an opportunity. So clearly there is space to do more, to connect with those young men who are saying, I don't have an opportunity, to say, what is your barrier to learning? And it may be that they can take advantage of the GED program because they've got another barrier to learning. And I can talk about that. I'm dyslexic, right? I've managed to reach this place in life as a dyslexic, right? And it took a long time before I was diagnosed, and I wasn't diagnosed in Bermuda. So I understand that there are gaps that we absolutely need to fill. But I'm committed to doing that, and that work is ongoing.
Premier, I have one question for you. The promises you've outlined in the next budget, why not there's in the previous. Why now? People have been suffering from high cost of energy and food for the last four years. Why the Astra? Why not just go for that 80% as you stated?
So the very important thing is, Trevor, is that we cannot borrow money forever. That is the reality. And let's remember, this Progressive Labor Party government is delivering the first budget surplus in 21 years before a dime of corporate income tax is being collected. We are delivering that budget surplus with record investments in affordable housing, with additional investments that were made inside of the mid-year review, with a 60% cut in energy as we've done, while also freezing fuel prices from 2022 and eliminating duty on staple goods, and also reducing vehicle licensing costs. We have done a significant amount. Our record has shown that when we have the ability to reduce taxes, to put more money in people's pockets, we have done so. And so you say, why haven't we done more? I'm saying we have done a lot and we are going to continue to do more. But to be fiscally responsible, you have to do it inside the envelope because we cannot borrow money forever. And that is why we are proud to get to this balanced budget and deliver a budget surplus so that we can continue to do more for the people of Bermuda.
What do you say to the Bermudians that don't see these cuts, especially with energy? They don't see the benefit.
So here's the thing, Trevor. It's a difficult argument, and I accept it. It's hard to say if the government didn't act, your bills would be higher when you feel your bills are high enough already. But that's the reality. If we did not reduce taxes, energy bills would be higher. If we did not freeze the cost of gasoline, gasoline costs would be higher. That's the reality. And so from our perspective, we have to continue that. And wait, the truth is, the other people double the taxes. Let's be clear, the One Bermuda Alliance doubled energy taxes. We've reduced them by 60%. The One Bermuda Alliance had payroll tax for workers at the highest level in history. Right now, it's the lowest. People who are making at that level are paying $2,000 less a year. Understand. Now, yes, I get it. There's other things that are happening. Got it. But if we did not make those changes, things would be a lot more challenging. And that is the difference, the choice in this election. A party that has always looked out for workers and has done whatever we can to relieve their burden whenever we can.
Good morning, Ms. Wilkerson. Gareth Finnegan, Royal Gazette. Couple of questions. First of all, can you tell me when you started canvassing in constituency 23, and what are the issues that you've heard about on the doorstep?
And to be frank, I haven't been canvassing in 23, but I will be canvassing. So this has been a late decision, one that I had to think on. And I'll tell you why. It's because my plate is very full carrying out the mandate as Attorney General and Minister of Justice. I think Trevor's question is one of those that gives sight into there is a lot going on in the reforms that I have in train. So I had to think carefully about whether I would be able to give the time to C23. And considering it, I've recognized that the issues in C23 are aligned with the general ones, so the national issues, right? So, getting more granular into what those people need, as I said in my statement, will be what I will be doing shortly.
Okay, but you said that you wanted to be a change maker within the constituency. What do you think needs changing?
Well, I'll know more about what specifically needs changing in the constituency once I've had the chance to canvass, get some boots on the ground, get some support there.
And you also mentioned that you wanted to introduce more humanity into society. What do you mean by that, and how can you do that either as an MP or Minister of Justice?
Yeah. So for those who've listened to any of the public statements that I've made, certainly in taking on the role of Attorney General, right? you would know that the ministry has been restyled. It previously was the Attorney General's Chamber and Ministry of Legal Affairs. We became the Ministry of Justice on my appointment. And part of that was a longer term view to make sure that we're connecting the dots between what we do here in terms of legislation and what we say and how it impacts people. So that's one of the ways of bringing humanity. And we have been working very, very carefully, thinking about ways to connect more directly with people. And I understand this because what we hear is a criticism often of the PLP. People say they don't listen, right? And I'll tell you, I was one of those people saying things like that as well. And you have a choice. You say, well, could I sit and on the side and do comments in the Royal Gazette? Or could I actually go and do some work? Let me see what I could do as an individual to try to make changes. And so I've started to have those conversations. Certainly, I've done a lot of public service, but thinking carefully about how we connect with people. So the PLP have done a lot of things around consultation. We've never seen so much open government consultation, right? There are consultation pages. When I tap in, I get an email. It's going into my inbox. It's saying, you know, we noticed that you visited this page. Do you have a comment on this or that? But I have come to recognize that there are many people who aren't tech savvy. They may not even have a computer, right? They're not the people that we're probably going to reach in that forum. And even myself, right? As you know, you could be educated, but not feel like you have the facility to really sit down and write all of your thoughts in response to something that's going on, right? And sometimes I've thought about it, you know, I had a number of ideas, but like I missed the deadline because I just didn't have the time to sit and write. And for that segment of the community, what do they want? They want to be heard. So we have to find forums for people to be able to communicate, not just with the leadership, but with other people that they can be connected with who can help to bring their message, right? Not everybody is an advocate, but there may be someone who can advocate for you. And the idea is to be able to match people up with people who can advocate for them, with the idea of affinity groups. So as Bob Marley says, he who feels it knows it, right? So getting closer to people who feel something so that they can inform policymakers of what the impact of a law that we might have passed, we're sitting, you know, up there. How it actually plays out. How does this affect you? We thought it was going to work this way, but in reality, it's working a different way. So it's shortcutting ways to hear from people really affected by things. And that's what I say, what I mean when I say about bringing humanity to things. It's reaching people at the level where they are so that they can truly feel a part of this process.
And one final question for you, Ms. Wilkerson. You said that your plate's full. Do you think that if you are successful next month, do you think you'll be able to continue as the Attorney General as well as being an MP?
Well, you know what the saying is about a busy person, right? So somehow, you know, we recognize, and I'm a believer, right, that I will be able to do everything that I'm called to do.
Okay, thanks so much, Ms. Wilkerson. Pranil, just one question for you. Postal ballots. The OBA have said that should they win the election next month, then they'll set up a postal ballot system within the first year. What's your thoughts on that, and what's the PLP's policy? I think we heard something about that you did look into it a year or two ago and decided that it wasn't feasible.
I can say categorically that is not something that we have looked into previously.
Okay.
And just to remember, the only party in this country that has ever promised absentee voting has been the One Bermuda Alliance, who made that promise in 2012 and did not implement it. However, the Progressive Labor Party did put out a statement on this, and I'm happy to read from that particular statement. It says, the Progressive Labor Party understands the concerns raised regarding the February 18th election date and its impact on Bermudians studying overseas. While we recognize this time presents a challenge for students who will be unable to participate, we remain committed to ensuring fair and accessible elections for all Bermudians. Out of a commitment to youth participation, we are planning voter registration drives at Bermuda College to encourage young people to get registered or to update their registration. And we were very successful in that at the college and at our high schools as well. Unfortunately, Bermuda's electoral laws currently do not allow for absentee voting. Given advances in technology, we believe that we can and should revise our electoral laws in the future to make our elections more modern and allow students who may be abroad to fully participate in any election. We have worked tirelessly to engage and empower young Bermudians, both locally and overseas, through initiatives such as increased scholarships, the youth employment strategy, expanded opportunities for young entrepreneurs, additional investment in youth development, and the implementation of national youth policy. And we encourage young voters to stay engaged and connect with us to ensure their voices are heard in shaping Bermuda's future. And so that is it. I will say stay tuned until February 6th. I'm not going to get into the knee-jerk reactions, but in this statement, when we talk about modernizing our elections, I don't think it's just voting. I think that it is a broader issue and broader discussions and broader conversations around, as we move forward as a country, electoral reforms which are necessary. The fact is that we still have antiquated, regular voting, with technology and the way it's improved. I think there's also an opportunity for possibly broader expansions, further consultation with members of the public. If you have an electronic voting system as well, you can consult persons at many different times during it. So you stay tuned for the platform. This is around modernizations, but I'm not going to be caught into knee-jerk reactions. We have a platform that is being put together by our party members, and we look forward to unveiling it on February 6th.
Premier, Ms. Wilkerson, thank you so much.
Hello, good morning. Congratulations on your candidacy, Ms. Wilkerson. So just to start off, you'll be up against the opposition leader. This is a two-part question. Do you view this with any trepidation, and what do you think sets you apart from what he can offer?
So first part, no trepidation whatsoever. I'm ready for this fight. I think I have the skills, qualifications, and problem-solving aptitude to put up a credible fight.
Okay. So you mentioned that you haven't yet been out canvassing. I assume you plan to do so. That's been a concern for a lot of people, complaining of MPs not coming to their homes, leading up to general elections. But are you of the view that there are no safe seats anymore?
Absolutely. I think that's true. I mean, I think statistically, you would see certain constituencies where historically the balance has been one way or the other. But yeah, look at what's happened in the United States. There is no safe seat. I think every seat has to be fought for and won.
And I guess, were you specifically recruited, headhunted to fill this seat, or were you always waiting in the wings looking to be of service in this way?
Do you mean in relation to C-23 specifically?
Or any seat?
Well, obviously, I've always had an interest in public service, and you will recall I was in the Senate previously in 2016. And there is a question, okay, do you want to take on being in the legislature, in the other house? So I think that work isn't different from the work that I've already been doing. And, as an attorney, I'm very keen on legislative changes and going through the legislative process. The idea of bringing up ideas, desires from policy into law is, that's what I do. So I don't think it'll be different in that regard. But actually, I think I'm active where I live. And I don't live in Paget, so just to be clear. I have family who live in Paget, but I don't live in Paget. But where I live, I've always been active in my own constituency, and that's active as a member of the community, as people should be, irrespective of what party they belong to. Being active in your community and being a part of it, that's the Bermudian way. It's how it should be.
Mm-hmm. And for those constituents that may be listening, historically the PLP has not had much success in this constituency, but I guess what can you say to offer them to perhaps lend an ear to what you can bring?
People have a choice coming up. There are some people who will support the OBA because they believe that there must be a credible opponent to the PLP in order for democracy to work. And that is a view. But if there are people who believe that their desires, right? The things that they need, fairness, equity, things that they need, whether it's on a personal level, a legislative level, if they believe that that can happen via an opposition that holds a small number of seats or less, they would know that it can't, right? So this is the only way, right? Working with the PLP, right, through the government, right, to actually get your concerns into legislation. This is the best way for that to happen.
I'll just answer that question as well. It is clear that the Attorney General is well accomplished, and if the residents of constituency number 23 put together the resumes, accomplishments, and community activism and records between the Attorney General and the opposition leader, I think that they will have a difficult choice to make, but some persons will think twice about maybe changing their voting patterns to vote for this incredibly qualified candidate that we're putting forward to the electorate today.
And just one last question. As Attorney General, obviously, crime, criminal activity and gangs is a huge concern for the community. What is your thoughts on it, your take and possible solutions and where we need to go?
Thank you for that question, Jasmine. I certainly am working very closely with the Minister of National Security. And when I came to this post, I talked to the Premier about my need to collaborate with the other ministries that touch the same areas. And so I'm keenly interested in assisting, and we are, and you'll see efforts on the way, to ensure that we can measure outcomes, that we have programs in place for transformation. Because we can talk on the one hand about, there's a lot of gang activity, what can we do? Do we have alternatives for young men in this country who feel like I don't have anywhere to go? I feel like I cannot be successful in the place that I live. I feel like the only way that I could be successful is by turning to crime. So I think, the end of the issue is there's gun violence. The beginning of the issue is there is something fundamental that we need to deal with. And that's what I mean when I talk about humanity, right? What is the problem? What is the why of this?
Sorry, Premier, just one other question. Reports on CNN this morning that Pastor Roy Bean will be standing in for constituency 5. Any comments on that? Can you confirm that?
Well, Gareth, that we would not make any comments on speculation that may appear in media, but I'm happy that you asked the question nonetheless. What I will just say is that the Attorney General in her statement is the exact reason why we saw inside of our mid-year budget review additional resources and additional items being put towards that, because we have to continue the work and continue the investments in tackling matters related to the root cause. And so it is important that we recognize, and Trevor, this goes to your question earlier, that some will say, why didn't we do it before? We have to do it in the basis where we can. But when it comes to an issue of priorities, whenever the Minister of Finance sees that there's a little bit more space in that budget, he doesn't sit there and go up to Parliament and say, look, we have more money here, look at our piggy bank. We say, how do we put these resources to work to tackle the challenges that are inside of our communities, that are facing our persons, to deal with the matters of humanity, as the Attorney General spoke about. That is our ethos. That is our mission. When we say a fair Bermuda, when we talk about the investment people, that is what we are about. They speak about a whole lot of other issues when it comes to noise, etc. But if you look at the records, that is what our record has demonstrated. And so the constituents of constituency number 23 have an opportunity to send this lady to the House of Assembly, and I'm sure that she will represent their items well. Thank you so much. Congratulations, AG. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
We're all done, Trevor. Can we do it after?
Why not 14? Why 24?
We are not going to comment on internal process in the PLP. Thank you.